Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's January 19th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, I know people don't like it. I know they're going to get mad at me, but you know what? Tough crap, okay? Because what I witnessed last night at the Watsco Center was just epic entertainment.
Oh, no, you're not going to talk about basketball. You're not talking about basketball on Good Morning CaneSport.
Well,
God forbid.
I'm going to touch on basketball, but I'm going to really talk about the sideshow that was going on at the basketball game. Unlike anything I've ever seen, seriously.
Yeah, but how good is this team? I mean, this team is special. Like, when Leonard Hamilton said it was a Final Four team, I thought, okay, maybe some exaggeration. But after watching that dismantlement of a really good North Carolina team, I think it might be a Final Four team. Like, this team is fun, man. It's a good team.
Jim Larrañaga is doing one of the most incredible coaching jobs so far this year. Now let's qualify. They've had 6 home games. They're gonna be going on the road a lot in the ACC here, and they're not going to win every game. But they should have won the Florida State game. They got that one robbed from them. And he is just doing an unbelievable job of coaching. And it never was more on display than last night, Matt, when they show up with just an incredible defensive game plan and took it to North Carolina. They fell behind 5-0, but from that point on, they took it to North Carolina and just totally blew them off the court. I mean, North Carolina was dysfunctional. This is North Carolina. They recruit off the Parade All-American list.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love you with the game plans. Let me tell you something. They have found lightning in a bottle.
Here you go again saying they don't. Okay, good.
No, they did. They had a game plan to shut down that amazing inside guy that North Carolina has. They certainly had a game plan for that to help Sam and all that. But they found lightning in a bottle with the way this defense is getting inside lanes, the zone, the way they're playing it, the speed they have. They're maximizing their speed. They're doing it against everybody. It's not just a game plan for North Carolina. This has been the last 7 or 8 games. This has been how they've been playing on defense, and it's amazing coaching job just from where they were the first 5 games to where they are now, that these kids understand. Like, this is what we always want in football, right? We're like, show us the development. Show us that the team's getting better during a season. This is what it looks like when the team gels and understands what they're supposed to do and gets better as the season goes along. Like, they're playing at a tremendously high level. And yeah, there's tweaks and little game plans, of course. But at the core, they know what they're good at, and they're doing it regardless who they're playing against.
Listen, they knew they couldn't defend that kid with anybody one-on-one.
Correct.
And they put a game plan together defensively that worked. And, North Carolina got totally out of rhythm. They were totally rattled by what was going on. And before they knew it, they were down 30. I mean, absolutely unbelievable exhibition. But
what bothers me is that, we won't talk about basketball much more, but I just want to say what bothers me. I feel like it's the same thing for Miami football. I feel like they don't get Miami's not getting respect. They're
going to get it now.
In either sport. Well, you say that, but guess what? You were at the game, and I wasn't. And I was watching on TV, and I watched the ACC Network halftime show. They didn't talk about how Miami's for real and everyone's underestimating Miami and how Miami's a Final Four team. They were talking about what's wrong with North Carolina. Why isn't North Carolina playing the way it's supposed to be playing? Like it was North Carolina's fault. Like they just didn't show up mentally prepared to play in a game no matter what. They're in Coral Gables having fun. Not Miami did this to North Carolina. It's very disheartening just to watch the way the outside world views Miami in basketball, and I think in football to some extent also now, just the way things have gone. So that needs to change.
All right. So anyway, I'm sitting there watching the game, and of course, I follow John Ruiz on Twitter. I mean, who doesn't at this point?
Who's John Ruiz?
So first, they tweet out a couple more football deals to Corey Couch, and I forget what the second one was. Quite honestly, there were two of them for like $18,000 a piece. All right, no problem. So then the game continues on, and Sam Wardenberg is raining in threes. And the next thing this shows up on Twitter. First NIL offer by Life Wallet in basketball is to Wardenberg, number 21, for $25,000 1 year. Canes basketball is on fire. tags his kids and Wardenberg. Sam, great plays. You have an offer on the table. All right. So here's the first thing I'm going to say before somebody accuses him of pay for play, which somebody will. Okay,
I wrote that on the message board. I said this is great. It's not illegal.
I will testify.
I'm not accusing anybody. It is pay for play.
I didn't mention you, Matt Shodell. I didn't say.
That's great. What's wrong with pay for play?
Why are you assuming I'm talking about you? Okay, so listen. Before anybody accuses John Ruiz of pay for play, I will tell you that before even 1 second of that basketball game was tipped off tonight, he told me that the basketball program was next and that he was going to do NIL deals for the basketball players. Okay. And they've already started doing them for baseball players, and he recognizes they want to do them for basketball players too. So he said that before the game even started. Okay. Now he's sitting in his courtside seats and he's watching this amazing display of basketball by the Hurricanes. Wardenberg's raining in 3 after 3. They're playing impeccable defense. He got swept up in the emotion of the situation, and he started tweeting. So he tweets this $25,000 offer to Wardenberg, not understanding that Wardenberg, we don't believe, can do NIL deals.
He can't.
Because is he from Australia or New Zealand?
He's from Australia, but he'd be deported if he took the deal.
But like these kids that come from overseas like that, they're on work visas or whatever, and I don't think they're allowed to get NIL money.
Student visas,
visas, or whatever it is. But I don't think
they're allowed to work in their field of study on campus, and it's a ridiculous thing, but it is what it is. That's just
so. The bottom line is, I don't think they can get NIL deals.
No.
So that would take Sam Wardenberg off the table anyway. But I can tell you, if the NCAA wants to come after Miami, I promise I will testify. I think I might even have a text or something to prove it. But John Ruiz was planning to take
come after Miami for what? It's Gary. It's legal for a guy to have a big game and for you to offer him an NIL deal. I don't understand what's illegal about that.
Somebody could accuse you of pay for play.
Whatever. What's the difference?
No, I get it. Trust me, it's all nonsense.
Totally, pay for play is legal. Pay for play is legal.
Matt, somebody's going to have it out for this guy. Like, let's be honest. He's being P.T. Barnum in the NIL.
Well, I can't listen. I can't defend that. I think it's a little ridiculous.
Matt,
over the top social
Twitter
Spaces.
He's doing Twitter Spaces till midnight every night. Okay, I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I mean, this guy has enough money to buy Miami. After we're off this morning, I beat my son in tennis yesterday. I'm about to text John after we get off the phone this morning, and I'm going to tell him I beat my son in tennis 6-3. And how much money do I get for that? I really want to know. I mean, I'm hoping that CaneSport can get a marketing deal to promote Life Wallet and all these NIL deals. I mean, hey, like I tweeted during the game that the cheerleaders were putting on a show behind John Ruiz at the game yesterday. When are the NIL deals coming for the cheerleaders? Like, I mean, everybody should get in on this party.
I agree. Why not?
But anyway, so this is going on, and Wardenberg's rating in the 3s, and John tweets this offer to Wardenberg. Okay, then Isaiah Wong gets off and starts going crazy. Okay, he ended up finishing the game with 25 points. I think he had almost 10 rebounds. Just played an unbelievable game as well. So the next thing that comes out is this. Second offer for $25,000 goes to number 2 Wong. And now he's got a $25,000 NIL deal coming up in the next few days, I assume, when they figure out, I guess, who his agent is or whatever, they can negotiate it and get the contracts done or whatever. So great, no problem. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all right, what about Charlie Moore? What about Jordan Miller? What about Cam McGusty, who has been balling like an all-ACC player this year? When are they going to get in on the party? And sure enough, boom! Offer number 3 goes to McGusty, and then we have $25,000. Matt,
poor Charlie Moore picked the wrong game not to do amazing, because he's been doing amazing every game, and then the one game where the guy's giving out $25,000 for every point, he gets nothing.
Yeah, and Charlie Moore was pretty good last night too. Let's not kid ourselves. But and I'm sure they'll get around to Charlie Moore as well, and they'll do everybody. But the point is that it's been rough around here for a long time. We have not had entertainment like this. I mean, when you factor in what Mario Cristobal's doing in football, the way they're out recruiting now with and stuff like that, and all those elite prospects coming to campus Saturday, and now the basketball team being in first place in the ACC, and John Ruiz just pouring money into everybody left and right.
Right.
Listen, this is absolutely great, and it's so much fun to watch every single day. And I hope you're getting as much entertainment out of this as I am.
Yeah, the only weird thing to me still, somebody said maybe somebody posted on the message board last night, maybe he's going crazy on social media with all these things that seem a little nuts, quite honestly, to have them out there every single moment of the day. Maybe he's doing it to help recruiting for Miami, and maybe he is. I don't think that's why. I think I think he sees some sort of personal gain that will come out of this, whether it's recognition.
I think he's
And
putting
having fun,
himself
exactly.
on the map.
Correct. He's definitely having fun. There's no doubt he's having fun. But he also has made a lot of enemies and haters and this and that. And I don't think that's fun for anybody.
He's saying screw you to every single one of them.
Yeah, I had a guy yesterday who messaged on YouTube. He wants to fight me. He doesn't like me. He wants to fight me. I only fight stone crabs. That's the problem. So if he's a stone crab, I'll fight him. But if he's a human being, then that's you, Gary. You're the fighter. But my point is this. I don't necessarily really get it. I'm not that type of person who would personally do that. So I don't really understand people like that. But more power to him. If he's actually giving out the money and he wants to buy Twitter and be the only person on Twitter, if he's giving money to Miami players, I could care less. Like, as long as he's helping the Miami players, I'm all for it. And it seems like he's doing that, which is great. The only caveat I'd have is I hope he really is going to help everybody, because the bottom line is, if once the football season starts, for instance, and a running back has a great game and he says $25,000 for Don Chaney, and Jalen Knighton is now he's got to have a big game, and now this guy's got to have a big game. And now it becomes an individual battle. What I don't want it to become is an individual battle where a guy's like, I got to get the ball 20 times so I can get 25 grand from John Ruiz. I don't want it to become that. That's the only caveat I have. I don't think that will happen, but that is a caveat, because these are college student athletes who need money. And it's almost like the old gladiator wars where the winner gets the glory and the money and da-da-da-da-da. You don't want it to become that. It's a team. It still is college sports at the end of the day. So I'm hoping he'll give it to everybody, like the Oprah Winfrey, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Give it to everybody,
who's a bigger deal than ever before is Dan Lambert, because you make
you did the right way.
You inadvertently just made a great point. And the thing that's really important about all this, in my opinion, is every player better get something.
Yeah, what do you mean inadvertently? That's exactly what I did advertently. There was no inadvertently about it.
I think you don't make so many great points. I'm going to call that one an accident. But
an accident?
Yeah, I'm going to call it an accident. Because
you said a maxident. Is it a maxident or an accident?
No, an accident. Because let me tell you something.
I like maxident.
In total seriousness, it's important that everybody gets something.
Yeah.
Because you don't want jealousy to start creeping in on the team. Now, listen, to Corey Couch is not going to command what Tyler Van Dyke's going to command. Sorry, not the same position. Didn't put up the same numbers in the second half of the year last year. Tyler Van Dyke's going to do very well in NIL. You already see an anticipation of what Leonard Taylor is going to become. John Ruiz has given him $50,000 in NIL deals. Other guys are getting 30, 36. There's 18. There's different levels. There's definitely a tier structure developing in these NIL deals.
Let me ask you something. I don't want to interrupt, but you'll never stop talking.
You just interrupted me, but let me say this. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
It is important that everybody gets something. There has to be a baseline. And I hope that the people that are putting these NIL things together, and I know the Moss brothers are working behind the scenes on their own program that's going to run independently of what John Ruiz is doing. And then there's the Dan Lambert effort going on also. I hope by the end of the day, after all three of them are factored into the equation, that everybody on the team continues to get a decent amount of money, that there are not jealousies, that you don't want it to start to infect the locker room. All right, go ahead, Matt.
All right, so I think a lot of people would probably agree he's somewhat of a loose cannon, at least with the word somewhat in there, because there's no doubt he already had to delete a couple of tweets that he sent out one about Shamar, one about Wardenberg. So let's say, I'm going to just put this out there. I'm sure he won't do it, but let's say before the football season, he wants to get some more attention because he does seem to like attention, and he tweets out, whoever winds up being a first-team starter for Game 1 for the Miami Hurricanes will get $25,000 deal from me. And this is before fall practice. Is that a good thing? That'll make the competition in fall practice pretty good, don't you think, Gary? Will these players be getting after it maybe more than they ever have in their entire lives in fall practice? Is that a good thing or a bad thing if he tweets out?
How about this? Any player that doesn't get a 3.0 GPA loses their NIL.
I like that.
You know, any player
I don't think can you take away an NIL after you give it to. If somebody has a bad game, can he take away the NIL?
You cannot renew it next year. The next year.
Yeah, but that's the next year.
You know, hey, you got to go to class. You got to get good grades.
Well, let me ask you: do you think that's a good idea? Do you think it would be a good idea for John Ruiz to say every starter who wins a job in fall camp will get $25,000 deal from me? You think that's good or bad?
I don't think you can define it like that. I don't think compliance would have. I don't think they would sign off on that. Just like they're not
going to sign off on it because he wouldn't do the deals until after they were starters.
Well, just like they wouldn't sign off on the appearance that you're playing a good game against North Carolina.
All right, so you don't want to just say you don't want to answer the question, Gary. It was a hypothetical.
I don't think that would fly. I mean,
it's a hypothetical. I want to know if you thought it was a good idea or a bad idea.
I don't think a external third party marketeer should start impacting depth chart decisions on the football team, and I don't think he will be able to. But I do think that he should be entitled to his moment in the limelight because, Matt, he's doing great things for the program. And here's what I would like to propose right now before we really move on to the other news of the day. I'm looking at that horse behind your head there.
No, I'm not getting a background.
No,
not moving the picture.
If I get a John Ruiz picture framed and send it and bring it over to your house, will you take that horse down and put a John Ruiz picture up there?
Absolutely not.
You won't take one for the team.
That's not taking one for the team. I will not take down that
picture. It's out of place. That should be John Ruiz. It would be like the Godfather of Miami football. Damn, my screen just went haywire. John Ruiz, the Godfather of Miami football, over Matt Shodell's head every morning on Good Morning CaneSport. Think about it. I like the idea. I think some other guys might sign off on that as well. All right,
if John Ruiz gives me an NIL deal to do that, I'll consider it. I'm not promising anything, but I'm not taking that painting down.
$5,000? Would $5,000 get it done?
$5,000, I'll put it underneath there just for Good Morning CaneSport. I'll take it right down again after the show.
So if I tell John Ruiz, listen, you give Matt Shodell a $5,000 NIL deal, he will take a picture of you and put it up over his right shoulder. And if you make a horizontal Life Wallet logo, he'll prop it up on the couch over his left shoulder, and we'll have you up there and Life Wallet right behind him every day on Good Morning CaneSport. $5,000. How about that? Does that work for you?
I have to ask my lawyers to look over the paperwork, and I'll consider it. Have his people get in touch with my people. Have them tweet it out. I want to see the tweet because that'll make it official, apparently, because that's all he does right now is send out tweets promising money to people. Have him send out the tweet promise, send over the paperwork, and then I'll consider it.
Here, I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm willing to do. If I'm going to hold out for $7,500, and if he'll throw me $7,500, I will put this on the show every day. How about that?
Listen, I know you love John Ruiz. I know he gave you a good deal to stay in his basement, but this is a little ridiculous. I actually probably would not take any amount of money at this point any longer to have John Ruiz pictures on my wall in my house and John Ruiz paraphernalia on my couch. I'm starting to think it's a bad idea. I got a better one. I would have an easier time selling stone crabs for $7,500 than I would get the flack I would probably get.
Hey, I got a better one. I'm going to hold out for $10,000 for this one, Matt. What do you think of this one? Check this one out.
I don't even know what that means.
Life Wallet is life.
Doesn't mean
How good is
anything to me.
that? How good is that? Come on, 10 grand. He would pay 10 grand for that, wouldn't he?
Listen, this is not
I'm
what
gonna
I think
leave
people
that
think.
up there. Listen,
You are entertained by this, Gary. Nobody watching this thinks this is entertaining.
I'm
Trust
gonna
me.
leave that up there the rest of the show so I can send them the clip.
No.
I'm gonna send them the clip. I'm gonna say, John, we gave you a freebie yesterday.
Is
Okay?
that their slogan?
But we will sell this to you for the rest of 2022 for $10,000.
Okay, but is that their slogan?
No, I just made it up.
Yeah, because it means nothing. It doesn't even make any sense.
Life wallet, life, Matt.
Yeah, I understand what you wrote. Why don't you say
Life
life wallet
wallet.
is? You may as well say life wallet is wallet. That would make as much sense as what you put on there.
No, life wallet is life. All right, I'm gonna leave it up there. I'm
You
gonna
know
make
what life wallet is?
I'm gonna make my proposal to John Ruiz later today, and I'll report back tomorrow on what he thinks. All right. Here we go. Other news of the day. Oh man, this is a good one. Oregon offensive lineman Logan.
Here we go. Here we go.
Sagapolu.
I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want the hate. I don't want the hate messages from people. I don't need to deal with this. Move along.
Logan Sagapolu? Why would you get a hate message on that?
Okay, I'm going to start talking about numbers and why I think maybe it's not the greatest move in the world.
You quiet. Because I hear this kid's going to be a good player. And he's had, I think, 2 years under Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal at Oregon. And I believe he went in the transfer portal with the intent of coming to Miami. And he all but said that in the story that you'll see on the website today. And I would like this one. This is a good transfer take. You know, you need to start getting better.
You like what transfer take have you not liked? You like every transfer take. Well, name one you didn't like.
I liked the Jake Lichtenstein take.
You liked when Tate Martell came. I mean, there's no transfer take you didn't like.
I was I said from the minute I laid eyes on Tate Martell, what is that?
After you saw him, you'll see.
I can't comment on him until I see him.
You like them taking Tate Martell. I'll find the posts from 50 years ago.
Well, no, absolutely not. Because the people, now that I'm remembering it, the people I know at Ohio State told me he wasn't any good from second one that they took him. So no, I was never behind Tate Martell.
All right, I'll take your
I like Jake Lichtenstein. I would like it if they got Logan Sagapolu. Trying to think what other transfers would seem like they'd be good takes. There'll be more. I'm so hung up on John Ruiz right now. My brain isn't functioning properly.
This is my problem. It's almost like the preseason, right? For Mario Cristobal. In the preseason, everyone thinks everything's going to be great. You can't tell somebody, hey, it might not be great. They call you a negative Nelly, a negative Nancy. They hate you. They want to beat you up. And I understand that. But I am not being a fan. I am not being this isn't just me personally. This is just me trying to be objective, like I'm looking from above at what's happening. And I understand Mario Cristobal, Alex Mirabal, they know what they're doing. They definitely do. There's no doubt. Alex Mirabal is a great offensive line coach. And Alex Mirabal knows this kid. He coached this kid for 2 years. He certainly should know, I want this kid. He's going to be great. But with that said, okay, the kid never played a game at Oregon. I understand he was hurt. He's not 100% yet, but he's close. The kid seems super nice, okay? I talked to him for 20, 30 minutes, exchanged texts with him, like the nicest kid in the world. But again, I'm trying to be objective. And when you come to objectivity, you got to look at numbers. And here's the problem. We're gonna have a story in the next, I don't know, few days. I'm still working on the story, but I started running all the numbers. And as it stands right now, what are you laughing for? I ran the numbers. You want the numbers?
I'm listening. Go.
Okay, so as it stands right now,
I didn't interrupt you.
If Miami takes 25 recruits in 2023 and 25 recruits in 2024, which I imagine they want to, right? This is their first big splash. This is the building blocks for Mario Cristobal. The guys he wants, the guys he's recruited for a full cycle, and it's a stacked South Florida area in both those classes. I mean, stacked, like as good as we've seen in those two classes. So you got to think they'll take 25 in each. And that's not including the 7 free, quote unquote, free transfers. This is just take 25. You have to cut 28 players off the current roster that would have eligibility remaining in the next 2 years. You have to cut 28 players. That means you're cutting players that will be freshmen and sophomores. There's no other way to get to that number. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's 7 graduating seniors this year and then 15 the next year. But probably out of that 15, Tyreek and there's one other guy who's probably going to go pro. Oh, and Zion are both in that class. They'll both be gone anyway, so it's 13, whatever. Okay, you're cutting 28. I know Gary's fine with that. He thinks it's fine. Just get rid of kids, jettison kids. They can't make it anyway. They're not good enough. Replace them with other kids. But here's my point. I don't know if it's right to do it. To take this kid's going to be a redshirt. This kid's going to be a redshirt freshman. We're not Oregon South at Miami. We are trying to stack talent, and I strongly believe in getting high school talent, developing it with Alex Mirabal, getting top kids, not Oregon kids, not Ole Miss kids, top kids that they recruit, that they win out on, they develop and stay here for 3 to 5 years. That's what I believe personally is the key. I know everyone thinks the transfer portal is the key to national championships. It's not. It's a nice tool to help when you miss in recruiting. The goal is not to miss in recruiting, okay? So with that said, they got to cut 28 kids right now. Every new transfer you bring in at this point, that's not a one and done. You're going to either take one less recruit in those 2023 or 2024 classes or cut that kid in a year or someone else. And yeah, you can just cut Logan again in a year. Sure, he came for a year. He was a backup. Oh, we got more recruits coming in. Get rid of him. I don't love doing that. I am fine with taking a 1 year, maybe even a junior who you can get legitimately say, listen, you got your degree, you can move on. It's not working out here. I can see that. But to take a kid as a transfer for a year and then say, see ya, and now the kid's already transferred. I think the second transfer rule, you have to sit out a year, I believe. You can't transfer twice. And to jettison a kid like that, it's not right. So when you take a transfer who's not a junior or senior, which they're doing, they're taking these younger kids, you're stuck with them, in my opinion. I don't think it's right to get rid of them and make them sit out a year to transfer a second time. I believe that's the rule. So that's just my opinion. That's the danger. When you take a recruit and he doesn't work out, you can jettison him a lot easier because that kid with the new transfer rule, the first transfer is free. You can go somewhere and just play. So that's just my opinion. I don't love it. I don't love taking young kids where they've been backups, Oregon South, the whole thing. That's just me. The kid might be great. Yeah, I know everyone wants to trust Alex Mirabal. I think he's a great offensive line coach. That's just the numbers I'm looking at. That's from up above, looking at the numbers. Don't yell at me. Don't fight me. I only fight stone crabs, remember, okay? You can say Matt Shodell's a moron, whatever. I'm sure everyone's going to say that. This is just me being real with what I think. I'm not going to lie just to make people happy so people don't attack me. I mean, this is just me and numbers and doing what's right.
All right, I would have to back check your math to comment on what
you can look at. I sent it to you today to look at, Gary, so we can run the story eventually. So you look at the story.
All right,
the numbers are accurate.
Have to take a look at that and back check it because it doesn't
it's
seem
based
possible.
On anybody can go right now on the website
that you'd have to whack 28 kids.
28. Anyone can go right now on the scholarship eligibility tracker. It's on our site. It shows exactly how many seniors are on the team next year as of right now.
Well,
all you can take next year is that number if you're going to stay at 85 because they're going to be at 85. They're already at 83, and they're going to take more. They're going to be over 85 and have to jettison kids as it is this fall. So it's going to wind up being more than 28 they got to jettison from now until 2 years from now. In my opinion, it'll be more because they're going to take more than 85 this year, in my opinion, and jettison more kids just on that number.
Let me remind you of something, okay? This guy's in charge now, right? Of these kids.
It's Black Friday! 1 week left on the 45-day challenge. Get juicy, stay swole, and be awesome. Oh, yeah. Juicy.
Now, you tell me that they're going to have a hard time eliminating 12 to 15 kids that aren't going to be able to hang with that guy. I mean, it's not going to be difficult. It's just not. I'm not as worried about it.
I actually want to order one of those mustaches on Amazon so we could both wear that. I'll do that. I'm not doing the John Ruiz thing behind my back, but I will wear that mustache if you find me one of those on Amazon.
I would kill to be able to grow a mustache like that. That is.
I can't grow it. I'll just paste it on my face though.
Now you got to get the John Ruiz poster behind you before we work on.
We got to get an interview with that. I want an interview with that guy so badly. I really do. They usually make the strength coach available before the spring to us. Hopefully they'll do that again because that guy's going to be a lot of fun to interview. Let me tell you.
I want to give him an NIL deal.
I may not get out of that alive. He might make me do one of the workout sessions while I'm there. I may wind up in the hospital and have to do Good Morning CaneSport from the hospital for a while, but I still want to meet with him.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, getting back to what I originally said before Matt went off on a 10-minute tangent here to make sure that he got more airtime today. Logan Sagapulo is in the portal out of Oregon, and I think there's a great chance he ends up being a Miami Hurricane, and I think it's a good thing no matter what crazy numbers Matt comes up with over there. I think the numbers are going to work. Listen, I'm not worried about numbers right now. I'm worried about the roster getting better. They'll figure out the numbers in due time.
I still think you got to do it the right way, Gary. I understand they can jettison everybody and bring in all the recruits they want. They can still do that, but it would be nice to see them do it the right way. Also, at the same time, I know it's a business, but I just feel bad sometimes for some of these kids. They are going to get jettisoned. It's just a fact.
Well, I mean, so far you're talking, and refresh my memory. There's been Lichtenstein is obviously in the boat as a transfer,
right?
Is that
Ladson? They took Ladson, who's a junior.
Ladson would be the second, right?
Right. Lichtenstein is a is he a junior? He's a junior also, right? So he'd have another year. They both have another year after this.
And Ladson
I don't mind having them as juniors. Right. Taking the juniors,
but
okay.
I'm saying it's not like you're talking about 15 transfers here. They'll end up with 6 or 7 transfers.
Yeah, but what I don't. Okay, here's the other part of the equation, right? You don't want them to take the transfers who may be really good players, but not elite, and then say, well, these guys are really good. We know they're really good. And therefore they take 18 kids in a class instead of 25 because they're, as we both know, Gary, you can shake your head all you want. As we both know, you're projecting recruits to be great or not great. And you don't know until 2 or 3 years later.
A lot of commitments right now in traditional recruiting, and 10 high school commits, a couple transfers. The numbers aren't an issue yet.
Listen, numbers aren't an issue
with 10 recruits.
What do you mean
10 high school recruits and a couple transfers so far?
That's my whole point. They could take 25 plus all the leftover kids in this class next class. They could take 35 kids next class if they have 10 early enrollees plus 7 transfers. They could take 42 kids in the first full year of Mario's recruitment if they wanted to. They could. Don't shake your head. They could take 42 next year and have a whole new team. My whole thing, and big picture, okay? And I've said this before, which is why I didn't say it. Big picture, I want Miami to win a national championship in 4 to 5 years from now, using the 2023 and 2024 classes that are going to be stacked with talent because these guys are amazing recruiters. I don't want them getting hung up on, we just took 7 transfers each of the last 2 years, so we're just going to take 18 kids this year instead of 42. Or we're going to take 20 kids this year instead of 42 or whatever. They could take a ton, and you are trying to project kids out for how good they'll be in 2 to 3 years, and it's hard sometimes, so you got to take a big number, and then you figure it out. But they're going to wind up with a bunch of transfers who are sort of coming from other programs, which is fine. And I agree with people who say you have to win now, you have to fill the gaps now. I'm saying try to do it with juniors and seniors and not with redshirt freshmen or sophomores like Parrish and this offensive line kid. That's all.
I think Mark Crispo would like to be contending for championships in 2 to 3 years, not 4 to 5.
National championships? Okay.
Whatever, any championship.
If you think you can remake this roster with transfers in 2 to 3 years, because the current roster that's here, the freshmen and sophomores are really good and should win the ACC Coastal this year for sure, and next year as well, and maybe compete to win the ACC title next year. But in terms of being a national championship team, like what we saw Georgia versus Alabama, there's a huge gap. You can't fix that in 1 to 2 years. To me, maybe I'm crazy.
The way you get there the quickest is by winning. And anything they can do to improve
winning to get recruits. You win and you get recruits. You win and you get recruits, but you need the space for the recruits.
It'll take care of itself. I feel very strongly about that.
I listen. It should, and they can get all the numbers they still need, but you just gotta get rid of so many kids. And
contrary to what Matt Shodell thinks, there is a lot of traditional recruiting going on, and a couple guys went out to the Poly Bowl in Hawaii. Lucky them, huh? And one of them was Cyrus Moss, who had just committed to Miami. He went out to the Poly Bowl. And Dave Iuli, an offensive lineman.
No, Cyrus Moss signed. He signed with Miami. He didn't commit. He signed with Miami, just so we're clear.
Yeah, okay. He signed with Miami. And Dave, geez, all this guy does is interrupt. All right, Dave Iuli.
You say something wrong. What am I supposed to do?
Dave Iuli, an offensive line recruit that visited last weekend, left Miami early Sunday morning, hopped on a plane, flew about 15 hours. And he landed in Hawaii, too, at the Poly Bowl. We have interviews with both those guys on the website this morning. I think you guys will enjoy those a little bit. Let's see what else. We have a few recruiting stories. Big recruiting week. You got the Elite Prospect Day coming up Saturday. We've got a story about 4-star quarterback Adrian Posse, a guy that I really like a lot. I think has a great chance to be the quarterback for Miami in the 2024 class. I really like what I'm seeing of that kid. He's evaluating his options already. We got a story on that, updating you on that. We've got a story on a Tennessee linebacker who's excited for the weekend by the name of Ethan Crisp, a 2023 kid. I think you'll like that story. And then we've got a story on a 4-star tight end by the name of Mac Markway, who's also coming in this weekend. He's a 2023 tight end, come in and hoping to impress the coaches so that he gets factored into the picture for Miami in 2023 recruiting as well. So these stories will keep coming at you as the week goes on. Big day on campus coming up on Saturday. We'll obviously have blockbuster coverage of that. Today's a new day. We'll see what John Ruiz does next. Miami basketball now is going to shift gears very, very quickly. They've got something to settle with Florida State on Saturday. Saturday, 2 o'clock at the Watsco Center. Florida State comes to town. And I would be surprised if the Miami basketball is not really ready for that game. It's going to mean a lot to the coaches and the players, I would think, on Saturday. So that's going to do it for today. A lot to digest. I'm going to go off and start searching for the best John Ruiz picture that I can get framed for Matt Shodell. And in the meantime, for Matt, I'm Gary. We thank you for joining us once again on Good Morning CaneSport, and we'll see you tomorrow, everybody.